And away we go. It is the nightcap game week edition. First of the season right here on BearcatJournal.com. Brought to you as always by our good friends at Hail Mary Sports Bar. They are located on the main drag in Cheviot, right on Harrison Avenue. They're in the Dora district. You can go from bar to bar with your drinks. But why would you ever leave? They've got 27 TVs, a 9-screen video wall. Not a bad seat in the house. They subscribe to every sports package that DirecTV offers, and they stream all of your Cincinnati sports on the video wall. They've got a brand new walk-in cooler, brand new draft lines, and not only do they pour the coldest beer around, but they do so in 32.8 degree beer frosted glasses. All right, Aaron, it's time. You got a little brunch. You look like you needed some brunch this morning. You needed something with some grease.
It's been a long day.
This is what happens when you get old and you get kids and you don't really get to go out and have fun anymore. And then you go out and have fun and you wake up the next day and you feel like you got hit by a truck.
It's been a long day.
And in our line of business, you get hit by a truck and then you have to go on camera and say it is what it is 27 times.
I did do that. But for those wondering, I will not be Dave's partner on that show season. He will have another partner.
You've already been fired as co-host of the Brunch. Jeff Howell will be back next week.
That's totally fine.
Let's get to it. We got some stuff to talk about, some things. Mainly the one that kind of has taken the internet by storm in terms of Big 12 this weekend is UConn back on the map. A lot of talk, a lot of reporting. Apparently, UConn officials recently met with the higher-ups, the brass at the Big 12. The Big 12 presidents will be having a call this week to be presented with all the things that the Big 12 heard from UConn. I think it's still going to be somewhat of a tough sell to some of these schools that are now going to be voting on whether this will happen or not. I think it's going to take 12 of the 16 schools to say yes for UConn to get in. The early reports are if this happens, basketball would join in 2026 and football would join in 2031. So it would give UConn a little bit of time to ramp back up their football program. I'll go with your thoughts first. So, yeah, are you yay or nay on UConn?
I don't love this move. And I say that only because while it does make your basketball even stronger somehow, I think you have to bring something more to the table than just UConn. I think that if you were bringing some ACC schools into the fray,
well, the ACC is not broken up yet.
I understand, but why do you have to make this move on UConn right now? Like, why can't you wait until something happens?
Because I think they are angling for making basketball its own TV entity. And I think from a basketball standpoint, if that is a goal of your mark, and we know he has said multiple times he wants to take the next TV deal and make basketball a separate contract or separate entity, I think it would behoove you probably to get them in as quickly as possible. I wonder, Aaron, if nothing happening on the ACC front, the deadline already, I think it was August 1st or it was sometime in August.
I want to say the 12th, 15th,
whatever it was. That Clemson and Florida State or whatever would have had to have announced that they were leaving to get out of the ACC by 2026 or 2025. I don't know, whatever. That came and went. And I think that fits in the timeline of that passing. So it's now obvious that, ACC schools moving is not imminent. So then you go back to, okay, well, we were hoping to include you in a package with Louisville and, Pitt or Clemson, Florida State, whatever it may be.
However, right.
Now that's not inevitable, that's not something that we know is going to happen. I think you go back to the drawing board with UConn and you say, look, are you serious about this? Because we want you in the conference. I don't know. I just think that time, like based on when the talks resumed and everything that we're hearing now, it seems like all of that reignited when there wasn't the movement that some thought might be coming from the ACC side. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I don't know. I guess for me, it, I want this conference to be great at basketball. I do, but I also want them to be great at football. And I don't feel like UConn brings anything to the table as football moves the needle right now more than basketball. I think that if you,
I'll say one thing. Every conference needs a bottom. I don't think there's a lot of bottom of this there's not a Vanderbilt, there's not a Indiana. Everybody needs that one game that you can look on your schedule and go, feel pretty good about that one. It's gonna be somebody. It might as well be UConn.
sure.
I mean, I don't know. They're never gonna be super relevant in football. They're just not in a place where football really is all that important. So there's not going to be a lot of talent for you to go commandeer. And then, you know what, like kids from places like Florida and Georgia really aren't going to want to do? Go spend their winters in Stores, Connecticut. So I don't know that there's ever really going to be an answer for them in football, but I do think their basketball is valuable enough to take a risk on. The other thing is, it would be a very serious blow to the Big East.
Sure.
Because the Big East got fortunate that Jay Wright leaves, Villanova falls off the map in terms of title contention. There's nobody else that fits that mold, and then UConn steps up and instantly comes back into the conference, wins back-to-back national champions. Like all of a sudden, UConn is propping up the Big East. And if you take them away, they go back to being, because UConn's a state, like a state school, a public school. It's different than everybody else that is in that league that is generally smaller. This is what Fox was finding out with them. Not a lot of eyeballs. There's not a lot of, large land grant fan bases that root for Marquette or Creighton or, even Villanova struggles in Philly to stand out in that sports scene. And that's when they were winning national championships. So, if it makes the Big East weaker, I'm okay with it. I'm not going to lie.
Like I said, for me, UConn doesn't move the needle.
Yeah, strategically, I get it though. I mean, I'm kind of indifferent, I guess. If they bring him in, cool. It was a fun rivalry. It would bring Danny to town occasionally, which I enjoy because he's a friend. But ultimately, if they're in the league, cool. If they're not in the league, I will not lose a wink of sleep over it. I just you could derive a lot of comedy from the folks across town's reaction to this, such as, will there even be a Big 12 in 2031? Like, I would suggest a mirror, Einstein. If things were great in the Big East, you know what UConn wouldn't be doing? looking for a way out.
Right.
So before you get out over your skis, little brother, take a look in the mirror. That's all.
Yeah. They got enough to worry about there anyway right now.
Funny, I've been perusing their social media and message boards. I don't see a whole lot of talk about the fact that they're operating at a double-digit $1 million deficit and can't get anybody to go to school there. And
weird.
Yeah. Funny how football drives the bus, as some would say. The other big thing, speaking of football, that we wanted to kind of get to Friday, but I ended up having to run around and run some errands and try to get Kelsey's back playable. We got through 5 games on Saturday, so mission accomplished on Friday. Yeah, 5 games in 7 hours. It was a long morning and early mid-afternoon at the Brendel household. I haven't done a damn thing today, not gonna lie. But they are looking to eliminate a transfer portal window in football and cut the football transfer portal window from 45 days to 30 days. And they are looking to place this transfer portal window in the infinite ignorance of the NCAA. They are looking to place this transfer portal window from the day after conference championship games, which would be like December 8th, somewhere in there. And then it will run through like January 6th or whatever would be 30 days there, from the Monday after the conference championship games until 30 days. So you would have a transfer portal window where players can only enter the transfer portal. You'll have played one round of the playoffs. You will still have, I think you will just be getting done with, the other bowls. So if you make a bowl, you're going to be also navigating the transfer portal while you're preparing for your bowl game or preparing to play for and win a national championship. I believe they gave an extension for players that were still playing. I would assume they would do something similar now. Why the hell does it have to be in that window? Why can't it be when the season ends? Why, God forbid, you do something that's best for the student athlete, Aaron? Why couldn't it be after spring practice? Why couldn't you open it for 30 days in April? And that way, everybody knows where they stand, essentially, right?
If I had to guess as to why, I would imagine it has something to do with when school goes
Of
back.
course. They want these players to enroll by the start of the second semester and be eligible for spring football.
Right. So in that vein, I understand. That said, what you've done with your entire year, your football schedule, with when games start, when the college football playoff starts, all of it, you did this to yourself. So now you're going to have guys who probably don't give a shit about the bowl game because coaches already told them that you're not coming.
Yeah,
you're not coming back. So why am I going to go out there? Why am I going to go out there and try? I don't care.
For people that don't know really how the timeline usually works, if you're just playing in a regular bowl, when your regular season ends, they start having exit meetings. If you're playing for a college football playoff or championship, you're not going to do those exit meetings until you might have to now, but you're not going to do those meetings until you're, where you need to be. Your season's over or whatever.
You don't think some of these schools who have spots
they're going to
opening
start?
up,
Oh yeah, they're going to start when
Reaching
the
out.
regular season ends. They're going to, I still think it would be a really bad idea to do that in your locker room if you're still playing and all of a sudden there's 15 less kids in your locker room that were all part of this and they've just been punted. Like, I can't imagine that's good for a
No.
locker room. Will they get over it? I'm sure they will, but I just, you're exactly right as to why. I just think it's the dumbest shit ever. Like, you're basing this off of something that is not in the best, and they'll say, well, we want them to be, yeah, okay, well then they finish at the school that they're at, they do spring ball, they get to the end of the second semester, and then they can go wherever. Oh well, your transfers don't get spring practice. But they don't want that, of course, because they want full control, and they don't care how bad it messes up everything else.
Yeah. You're gonna have freshmen who are trying to figure this all out, and well, you were only here for a couple months, but see ya.
Yeah. I hope you enjoyed your one semester on campus. Now get to stepping.
Wild times.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to play by this clock, or else you're not going to get enrolled in time. And if you're not enrolled in time, teams are going to move on.
I understand wanting to get rid of the spring portal. I do, only because you want they want to try and have the players sticking around longer. I mean, you want to have some.
If they did that, they wouldn't punt so many guys, Aaron. They want the spring portal because they want to be able to watch spring practice and then go, okay, these are 10 guys that aren't going to play for us. They need to bounce, and we need to bring in.
They want to do that though. They want to do that because this is professional football. Call it what you want, but it's professional football. These are your cuts. Like, I get it.
It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me to still be playing football, and the portal will be closed. Like, we will still be watching playoff games, and the transfer portal will be closed. And that to me it's a wild deal. And then you're going to have coaching changes, and then everybody on that roster can leave, but the new coach that's coming in, the portal's closed. So the only players that the coach that's coming in can get are the guys that were picked over and left on the scrap heap. And your guys can all leave, and now everybody can go. The whole thing just doesn't make any damn sense. And it's all because they want to force kids into that first semester or that second semester.
Maybe that's how you create parity. I don't know.
I don't either. It's going to be interesting to watch. It's if I had to guess, it's going to pass. It sounds like there's a lot of support for it. I don't know.
I feel like it's on the right track. I don't think this will be the final iteration. I think they're going to see how messy this is, because you're going to have different kids on different timetables and different coaches on different timetables.
What they're trying to create is impossible.
Yes.
And that's one solid timetable at a place when everything is up in the air. Then they're trying to streamline something that can't really be streamlined in that particular window, I don't think.
Yeah, unless you move the season up a week or two.
They're not going to do that and mess with bowl season, so that's not going to happen. So the kids are just going to figure it out.
It's never about them anyway.
No. We'll see you tomorrow night on the BBP. That is the Nightcap, brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!